Hey there, fellow pilgrims. Today I'm diving into what it's like to walk as a solo female on the Camino de Santiago. I walked the Camino Frances from August to September, from Saint Jean to Santiago de Compostela. I wanted to make this video for you to share my experience and answer any questions you might have if you're a person who identifies as a woman and you're unsure if you're ready to walk the Camino alone. If you're watching this video and happen to be a man, hi! You might also find this information helpful and valuable, so thanks for watching. Before we get started, I'm Jen, and on my channel, I talk about mindful travel that changes you. Okay, now let's dive in. Let me start by saying that the Camino is safe for solo female travelers. There are so many people around, especially on the more popular routes like the French Way, and there are plenty of women who walk the Camino solo. I want to reassure you that while I was walking the Camino, I felt so safe, even more at ease than walking around my home in Los Angeles. That said, you do want to have some precautions in mind. As a person who identifies as a woman with a passion for adventure, I totally get the tug of war between maintaining a sense of caution, but also exploring and doing what you want. If you're a woman and you're dreaming about walking the Camino, but you don't have anyone else to go with, my advice is definitely, unequivocally, go for it. And here's why. We live in a world where, unfortunately, the safety of women isn't guaranteed. It's true whether it's a big city like Los Angeles, a suburb, or even within our own homes. Growing up, we learn how to navigate this reality, reserving caution, understanding that you will never be safe, no matter what you do or where you go. And because of this reality, the reality that the world is dangerous for women. Women are often, understandably, told by their loved ones to not take risks. Don't walk alone at night, don't show too much skin, don't forget your pepper spray, and of course, don't travel alone. While all of this is well intended, somehow it seems like the responsibility of staying safe falls on the victims instead of the perpetrators. But should you let that stop you from doing what you really want to do? Should you let fear get in the way of embracing solo travel and walking the Camino alone? Absolutely not. And I would say that's all the more reason to walk the Camino. Heading out on the Camino alone is more than just a physical journey. It's a profound statement of self-belief and resilience. It's about refusing to let fear and society's expectations of us dictate our experiences. If we constantly live in fear, we limit our true potential to experience, grow, learn, and discover the depths of what we are truly capable of. Walking the Camino is an exercise in trust. Trust in ourselves and trust in the kindness of strangers. It's about learning that while we must always be vigilant, we can't let fear paralyze us from doing what we really want to do. The Camino de Santiago offers a really unique backdrop for this inner and outer journey. It's a place where you can find strength in solitude and camaraderie in community. So if the Camino calls to you, listen to that call. Embrace the opportunity to walk alone, because when you do, you're not just walking across basically the entire width of Spain. You're embarking on an adventure that will open you up to a new culture, new ways of life, learning more about yourself and everyone who surrounds you. You're really proving to yourself that you can accomplish anything that you set your mind to, and you won't let anything stand in your way. Now, I'm going to answer a personal question. Why did I want to walk the Camino alone? Well, first of all, I solo travel pretty often, and this is not something that's entirely new to me. Of course, walking the Camino alone was new to me. It was my first time. But I was lucky enough to grow up in a family and with people surrounding me who said that you can do anything you set your mind to. So when I became an adult, it was actually eye-opening to learn that people would say that solo female travel is courageous. This concept actually boggled me, and I still don't quite entirely understand it. Why is it so brave to book a flight and get on the flight and then go somewhere? I don't know. Basically, the expectation to be afraid of the world somehow evaded me. But that's not true of a lot of people, a lot of women. A big reason why I wanted to do the Camino was because I love meeting other people when I travel solo. And I knew that the Camino would be a really special way to do this, and a really special and unique way to travel across Spain. There's really just nothing else like it. And I thought, wow, what an incredible opportunity to be able to experience Spain on foot. Also, the Camino is just something I've always wanted to do. When I first heard about it, I was like, oh, that sounds cool. I gotta do that someday, you know? Like, it just kind of has this way of calling you, and then once you get the idea in your head, it just won't go away. You know, it just nags at you. So the story goes, I had recently quit my job, and I had a very small window of opportunity to take this trip and take the time to do it. And my boyfriend actually just recently had knee surgery, and understandably, walking 500 miles for a month wasn't really his cup of tea. So we had a conversation, and he was totally supportive. So I was really grateful for that. So that's basically how my solo journey on the Camino de Santiago came to be. Please share yours in the comments. All right, so what was it like for me on the Camino de Santiago alone? Well, this might be a little bit surprising for some, but the first thing that got me out of my comfort zone was sharing sleeping quarters with men. I know, right? Usually when I travel solo, I'll opt for an all-female dorm, or I'll get a private Airbnb. So this was a little bit of a step outside of the ordinary. The Camino totally changed this for me. When I arrived in Saint Jean for the first time, I found myself in a small room with 4 beds, and the only other person in my room was this really nice retired man from Denmark. And honestly, at first I was like a little bit nervous. I was like, I've never done this. I've never shared a room alone with a man that I don't know. And of course it turned out just fine. It was the first of many occasions where I'd be sharing the same room with multiple men and sometimes be the only woman in a room full of men. Honestly, by the end of my Camino, I was so used to sharing accommodations with men and staying in mixed dorms. This was like a thing that really got me out of my zone of comfort. And I had really positive interactions with so many men on the Camino, so that was really cool. One final thought on that, I would venture to say that this is a very American thing, being new to mixed dorms. So from what I could gather, European people seem very comfortable and much more used to being in mixed dorm situations. So if you're European or from somewhere else in the world, definitely leave a comment and let me know what you think about that. Another question you might be wondering, will I be walking alone the entire Camino? Actually, probably not. If you really don't want to walk alone, you will probably be able to find someone to walk with in nearly every stage of the Camino. It's very easy to start chatting with people and walking with them, and you might soon create a Camino family, and you could easily start walking with the same people and even sharing accommodations with them. This is usually something that happens in the beginning of the Camino, so people are very open and friendly and looking to chat, and that's when a lot of people make friends. This is also a really great reason to stay in an albergue, because it's really easy to ask people, what time are you leaving in the morning? And then maybe you'll leave at the same time as them, and then you can walk together in the next day. You might also be wondering, did I feel safe the entire way? And the answer, like I mentioned before, is a resounding yes. My biggest concern actually was potentially getting hurt, like twisting my ankle and falling, or breaking an arm accidentally while on the Camino and being alone. One day that comes to mind is the descent from the Cruz de Ferro into Molina Seca, where it is really steep. And I just kept telling myself, like, okay, this is not the time to slip and fall. Now, if that were to happen, there are some things that you can do in the case of emergencies. So if you find yourself lost or in an emergency, you can dial 112. This is a national emergency line similar to 911 in the United States. So the authorities will be sent your location and they can send responders to your location. Also, there's an app that you can download on your phone called Alert Cops. You can download this app, and if you're in an emergency, you can use the app in a similar way to send for help in your language of choice. Next, if you're sharing your Camino publicly on social media, I think it's a really good idea to not send your exact location on your Instagram stories, for example. Always wait a day or two before you post your live location, because you just never know and it's better to play it safe. I would also say listen to your intuition, listen to your gut, and trust it. You always kind of know if something feels a little bit strange, don't ignore that feeling. Now, all that said, I want to reiterate the Camino de Santiago is super safe for solo female travelers, and if you are thinking about going, definitely do it. I had so many beautiful, life-affirming moments on the Camino. Definitely don't rob yourself of that experience because you're afraid, or because you're worried about what other people will think, or because you have an overprotective family. Just follow your passion. Take the leap, and you will thank yourself later. All right, my friends, that's it for today. If you're interested in watching my entire journey on the Camino, check out my 7-episode series. I'll put the link here, and be sure to subscribe and leave a comment below. Thanks so much. Buen Camino.